and a slam jam.
Hello everybody, this is going to be another replay analysis. This is High Shaggy from, you may know him, the Ember Spear, Void Spear type spammer in the mid lane. He is 7.4k MMR, and he has given us a Anti-Mage replay. So I just wanted you guys to see the ranks a bit there to get an idea of who's in this game. Looks like it's like a 6.8 average, if I had to guess, something around there. First and foremost, we'll talk about the pick. I assume you didn't see the Monkey King. I'm not going to go too much into it. I don't mind Anti-Mage against the supports, but I don't love it. Tiny, one of the better supports against Anti-Mage, just because the Avalanche is actually better against the new Anti-Mage than the old Avalanche, because you can't blink through it. I'd say against Void Spear it's pretty good, and against Necro it's also pretty good, so it makes sense to me why you picked it. You got a Silencer or a Jakiro 5, which means, let's see, you got a Jakiro 5? Yeah, Jakiro Anti-Mage should do pretty well against Necro Tiny, I think. You have an Orb of Venom to start the game. Let's go ahead and... So what are you going to do here? Okay, so you went 6 tangos. I think the salve was actually better. I think as Anti-Mage, I've noticed a lot when you're against, like, these int offlaners or any hero that you do have to burn their mana early. It's worth burning their mana in order to take, like, 300 or 400 damage. Like, it's worth it, right? And a lot of times, if you want to burn their mana reliably, you kind of just have to commit. So, I like the idea of the salve over the tangos, and you can always fly yourself more tangos. I think against Necro specifically, my experience from both sides of the matchup is whoever's in control of the lane at, like, level 3 wins pretty heavily. Because Necro either bullies you out of lane and you can't like sustain through it, or at that point like Necro's run out of mana and you can just blink on top of him and hit him all you want. So I think this matchup's really snowbally, and I think what you do in the first 1 or 2 levels super impactful. So with that in mind, I think my plan would be to hit him a lot, and I probably want to salve for that. It's also like an insurance policy, right? Because if something were to go wrong, say you got, like, tossed by Tiny and queued by Necro and you're at 300 health, suddenly you have to take, you know, a creep wave or 2 off because you don't have that salve. So just something to think about. Salves are nice for those type of lanes where you want to be willing to lose that health based on how you want to play the lane. Okay, so fast forwarding here.
The battle begins.
I'd definitely be hitting the Necro as much as I could in this lane. I understand he was to the side, but Necro's definitely a target. Okay, nice. Worked out. It's a good lane to tri-lane for. Anti-Mage, one of the best carries to tri-lane for, especially in a swingy matchup like the Necrophos one. You kept good lane equilibrium in the meantime. That's important while your supports are doing what they're doing. Okay, you're doing a good job with the lane equilibrium. Fast forwarding. Okay, you're level 2. Nice. You instantly blink on him. Cool. Force the TP. He actually leveled Ice Path. Cool. Even managed to keep lane equilibrium in the meantime. I guess Tiny actually dragged. So in this case, Necro's gonna get level 2. This is nice. You know what? I'm fine with this. If you want to play for ultra efficiency, I'm fine with this. You're gonna kill the camp and then drag it back? Okay. Fine. Good with me. So far, so good. I guess the quick lesson I want to give to the viewers watching is if you do have a matchup like Anti-Mage versus Necro that's super snowbally, try to analyze matchups this way. If they are super snowbally, these are the ones where you do want to consider tri-laning, or potentially like ganking one time, or roaming for, or even just starting there level 1 and then leaving. If anything you can do to like give your core the head start in these lanes can be super game changing. So just consider, like, you're seeing a lot of things go right here, and he's playing it right from the carry perspective. But I know a lot of you watching would be like, well, this would never happen at my 4K games or whatever, my 3K games. So I just want to spread that knowledge to say like these are the good lanes to try lane.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Let's see here. So lane's now pushed out a bit.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Okay, so you went boots first. I don't mind that. I think you can posture even more aggressively. You have a lot of regen, and you're level 3 and he's level 2. I wouldn't even be going for these denies. Like, I would be right here. I'd do this deny, maybe, and then I would be positioning, like, right here. I'd kill this creep. The only thing I wouldn't be doing is missing creeps to last hit in order to be aggressive here. But, like, if you walk at him here, what's he going to do? He's going to, like, use a Q, and you're going to hit him. You're willing to take some damage. You have a salve, right? If you didn't have this salve, maybe it's a bit different. But because you have this salve, worst case scenario, it's almost like dare him to punish you. Dare him to do something that's going to make you pop that salve. Because if you're consistently playing like that for like 2 minutes and then he finally makes you pop that salve or whatever, you just gained so much in the meantime. So I wouldn't even be letting him walk up to these creeps at this point. I don't really care that there's 4 creeps or like more creeps on the enemy side than my own. You're not spending the time A-clicking him, right? You're walking at him, and if he stays there, you A-click him or whatever. Like if he stays and hits you, you hit him back. And you're level 3, he's level 2. There's no way Necro can afford to trade with you at this point. Like, we're looking at his items, right? Like, you're willing to spend a much more on sustain than he is. If you have to fly yourself another salve to play like this, do it, right? Because look at how much CS he has and look how much you have, right? So every little bit of trading you can force out of this guy is, like, really good because you're willing to spend the money you are getting to replenish yourself while he's not getting money. So if he has to fly himself, like, extra salves and shit, that's just really bad for him. Just think about it that way. And as Anti-Mage, if there's a way to actually win your lane heavily enough to make it so you can actually stay in lane past, like, level 6, you should always go for it. So what I'm noticing is you have a pretty good idea of, like, when to be aggressive with your blinks, but you're never giving him the casual walk at him play. Like, I know it sounds casual, but this is something that I think is pretty common among 7K players, like low 7K laners. Whenever I play against Sumail mid, this is how I learned it. So it's like to give you guys a source. I noticed that he would walk at me every time I didn't want him to. Like, meaning if I were to hit him, he would hit me back, or if I were to hit him, I'd miss a CS or something. So I want you as a laner to hone your aggression in a way that's like not only in these large spurts where you utilize your abilities, but also just casually walking at the guy when he doesn't want you to. Like, just think about his perspective and when he doesn't want you to play aggressively like that. And you'll end up forcing a lot of random trades that he doesn't want, and they benefit you, especially when you're ahead. It's always when you're like the advantageous hero. So something to think about. You clearly know you're supposed to be aggressive, but it seems like all or nothing, like with your blinks, and nothing about
regeneration.
Nothing to do with like consistency. You're not consistent about it. You kind of just do it in spurts. Okay. Let's see. Fast forward. Keep in lane to your tower. All good. Going for the aggressive items. Good. Obviously maxing on denies. Pretty free lane here. Don't get this very often on Anti-Mage. Necro is one of the few matchups that feels really good for Anti-Mage if you get a good start like this. Okay, maintain lane equilibrium even though your support fed a bit. Could have considered pushing out the lane prior and helping him at the bounties. I think that's a bit of a mistake. I think it's something I do a bit too. You think to yourself that, like, if I push this lane out, the Necro's going to get like a level or something. I would consider it sometimes worth and sometimes not. I think if you give Necro like one lane, like one wave, and you can test the bounty, and then you go like pull the small camp yourself, it's going to give him like 1 or 2 waves, and you're going to get 2 bounties in return, because you're just so much stronger than the opponent. So it's all about the trade-off. Some games it's worth it, some games it's not. I think this game it was probably worth it. So that means around like 4:30, you need to start pushing the wave. outwards so that you can have the time to go help them. You don't want to be missing CS, right? If you possibly can't. But right now, I think your Jakiro dying is like a result of your support kind of thinking, we're strong here. Like, my anti-mage is winning. We get this bounty rune. And I'm not saying it's like your fault that he fed, but I do think you are capable of contesting these bounty runes. And every bounty rune is 50 gold, right? For everybody. So it's 250 gold for whatever team gets it. So if you guys get it, it's 500 gold swing compared to them getting it. So it's pretty massive, right? Like, none of these creeps are worth 500 gold. Or at least, like, the one wave you give to Necro is not worth 500 gold. Potentially 1,000, right? And potentially a kill. So just something to consider. It's hard to remember to yourself because you're only getting 50 gold for that rune. But in the economy game for the team, it matters a lot. Okay. Obviously a pretty fucking easy lane. You just walk at him now. Very straightforward. You're walking at him now that you're super strong, but I want to see it even earlier, when you are still strong in comparison to him.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
So I've flamed a lot of 4K anti-mage players for pushing the lane too early. And this is how you're supposed to play anti-mage when you're winning. At this point, right when I get treads plus ring of health, I feel really good. Maybe a wraith band on top of it, but it looks like you kind of just skip the wraith band. You don't really need one in this lane, because you're obviously just free farming. This is the point where I start pushing the wave and playing max efficiency, jungling wise. So it looks like that's exactly the page you're on, which is good. Because the treads give you the farming speed to make use of this, and the ring of health gives you sustain to make use of it. So at this point, whatever you're doing, I'm killing this big camp every minute. So as much tower damage as I can get, whatever, great. I'm still killing this big camp every minute. If not killing it, I'm gonna stack it. So like right now, I'm done with this. Just get out of here. Like, it's a waste of your time. The minute they fort, get out. The way I look at this is, my view on this has kind of shifted throughout the years, but I want as much tower pressure as possible, but then I gauge to myself, like, how much tower pressure does my hero do, and, like, how much do I benefit from just accelerating my game as much as possible. And on anti-mage specifically, the tower pressure is pretty minimal, and the acceleration of your game is exponential, because obviously once you get Battle Fury, your farming rate just skyrockets. So, the way I would look at it at this point is you were clearly on the same page as me as pushing out the wave, but I'm clearing that big camp every minute. Like, no question. That big camp is getting cleared. And if I'm not going to clear it, maybe I'll, like, kill one creep and stack it, you know? Like, I don't want a huge stack because I'm not the best at killing it. But I do have a salve. So I wouldn't even mind, like, tanking a stack and killing it because I have this salve. Might as well use the resources you have, right? So the salve allows you to take a lot more damage to like, accelerate your own farm. So I'm just seeing one big camp missed. Okay. Pushing the lane in and farming jungle also prevents shit like this, by the way. It's much harder to gank you. Yes, it's possible. Yes, like, they maybe could. But that's why it becomes more advantageous around this point, especially when it's possible, to just push the lane in a jungle. Push the lane in a jungle. Because the only way they're coming after you is with a smoke, and if they're smoked, what you can do when you're in this big camp, especially when you have this ward, is you can, like, cut these trees right here while you're farming the big camp. And then if they smoke from this direction, like if they smoke and go here, you'll see them on the ward. If they smoke and go here, you'll see them on the high ground. Or you'll see them on the low ground right here. So it's worth, like, by pushing in the lane and farming jungle, you're just protecting yourself from this shit. That's like a perfect example of, like, because you're static laning and just sitting in lane, pushing the tower, sitting in lane, pushing the tower, you're just much easier to kill. Like, it's just that simple. Void Spirit, despite your hero being pretty good against him, if any hero has, like, an efficient trading mechanism on, like, against anti-mage, you just don't win. Like, you don't win the trades. It's really that simple. Like, if he has 2 nukes to throw on you at this stage in the game, you're not going to win the trades. Like, you're going to take 400 damage, and he's going to take, like, 2 right clicks. Like, that's what's going to happen. So what I mean by this is I don't want to occupy the lane normally. I don't want to just keep staticking and sitting in this lane. I want to push it out as fast as possible, go to the jungle, get off map as quickly as possible, maybe even look to secure my outpost if I feel confident doing that. You guys are missing 2 outposts. So the way I look at this situation is you're just being very... you're telegraphing everything. It's very simple to gank you if they're going to do it. So important not to do that. So let's see what you do. Your silencer, did he TP here? He did. But he's going to walk back. Okay, he's going to walk back so you come back top. That's fine. So now you've clearly changed your approach here. No problem with the efficiency ult here. Would have stacked this for sure. Big inefficiency there. Because that's all you can do other than push this tower. If you let that camp die like that, your options are one. I guess your option is to pressure the tower or go into your jungle. If you leave the camp, like if you get it to be spawned again, your options are to be near the tower and anytime the opponent shows, pressure it. Because one may say, BSJ, is it really that big of a deal if you can't farm this camp instead of like these camps? The idea is if you're farming this camp and the opponent shows 4 heroes bottom, suddenly you can just like blink to this tower and start hitting it. But if you're farming over here, then if the opponent shows 4 heroes bottom, you're just farming jungle, which is just strictly worse. So that's an example where I try to give myself the best option every single minute. Like if you were killing this camp and it was the minute mark, I wouldn't really care if you didn't stack it because you're gonna like blink your way back this way. But this camp is super important for it to be there. So, and like I said, I'm under the impression I want to kill that camp every single minute. So that implies also setting it up for the next minute. Okay. We're gonna get the tower, obviously, absolute free lane, despite the 1 death. I don't mind the way you played this. Make sure you didn't miss any lane creeps. Got the big creep, that's it. You're gonna back off now, cool. I would have even considered farming that medium camp first, before this one. I would blink, I would TP bottom right now. I'm fine if you want to go back top like this. The problem is you're not creating any pressure on that tier 2. That's like why this is the dead lane, right? You've already killed the tower. By going bottom, you're going to force somebody to go there. By going top, like, they could show up here, but it's just for farm, right? They're not actually going to, like, it's just a tiny support farming. Like, that's why he showed up here. He has no problem showing up here. Your Mirana now goes bottom. I would have definitely gone bottom there. If there's a lane that's convenient for me to TP to that I can instantly start pressuring, or, like, at least represent pressure, I'm going to go to it right away. So you chose to stay top and just effectively do nothing on the map. Like, right, you're still killing creeps. I want you to go bottom and kill creeps, and if nobody comes, you're going to kill a tier 1. And it's not like if you go bottom, it's like ruining your game or anything. You still have camps to farm, you still have a lane to farm, it's the safe part of the map. That's like a perfect opportunity for you to leave your own safe lane. So, I see 4 heroes mid. This is my thought process. I'll just go through it with you. I see 4 heroes mid. I think, can I do anything on the map? I instantly ask myself, can I do anything on the map? Is where I'm at doing anything. You don't want to just TP bottom, because what if you TP bottom and suddenly there's 4 heroes there, right? You don't want that. But the minute you see 4 heroes mid, that opportunity to TP bottom, like, presents itself. So I see 4 heroes mid, and I'm like, okay. I'm not really doing anything top. I was farming, and I was perfectly fine with that. But if they're grouped up, I have to punish it. Like, I have to force them to separate as quickly as possible, and I have to be a threat somehow. And we're just going to be honest. Are you ever taking this tier 2, right? You may say BSJ is pushing the tier 2, whatever. It's like, you're not threatening that tier 2. That tier 2 is never dying, right? If I'm a Morphling, maybe I can threaten that tier 2 because Morphling early. Maybe a Troll Warlord if I feel super strong, but a hero like Troll usually dies if he's that far forward. So it's like, there's very few heroes that can actually threaten that tier 2. Maybe a Lycan with summons would be an example. But in general, you're not taking that tier 2. So by staying top like this, you are an AFK farmer. On Anti-Mage, it's usually okay to be an AFK farmer. Like, that's okay. There's a big difference between being a guy that's pressuring lanes and farming and doing nothing in farming, right? Like, that's the distinguishment I've been trying to make in all my sessions and shit. So the major thing here is same amount of farm, less impact with the farm. Okay. You guys do lose your mid tower. You're going to have a pretty early Battle Fury, 14 minutes. No Wraith bans. I'd say obviously it's pretty slow, all things considered. That death slowed you down a lot. Okay.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Dire structures are fortified.
Okay, overall decent farming patterns. You farmed away from the opponent. Okay, dude. No reason to yoink that catapult. It's also really far out of your way. Why not just blink on the creep wave that's right here? This is something I see a lot, man. I think I only see carry players that are as good or better than me not do this shit. Like, it's what I'm saying is this is something that it takes somebody blatantly telling you you're bad to fix. Like, you don't realize it on your own. Why are you going all the way for this one creep that's worth 70 gold and you do 50% damage to? Like, you do half damage to catapults. When there's a wave right fucking here to kill. And maybe you can go kill the catapult after if it's there, but, like, this wave will die right now. It'll die in, like, 2 seconds. The enemy team is running at you. Like, they're coming from mid lane. Right? Somebody's coming from mid lane. Bane is, right? Perfect. Bane's coming from mid lane. The point is they were all bottom, right? So you cleared mid and you blinked your way up here. If they're going to catch you, they're coming like this, right? They have to, because they're all just bottom and they're running at you like this. In this case, it's the Bane. I don't have to see that to know it's happening. So what I mean by this is maybe it's not happening, but if they're going to kill me, that's how it's happening. So I want to kill this wave as soon as possible. I want to get out of here as soon as possible. And so by going to here and then to here, that's giving them like an extra 5 seconds to catch you, which is just bad. Not much else to say about that. Just bad. Okay. You would have probably been able to clear that big camp in time too, because you clear that that wave faster. Okay.
Radiant's top tower.
Your Jakiro farming top is pretty game rooting, by the way. If you guys have an anti-mage on your team and you're playing like this Jakiro, you're just, like, being a bad support, just to be clear. Like, notice how the farm anti-mage wants in this game is that farm, and Jakiro's just effectively taking his farm and feeding. Why am I on Bane's side?
Radiant structures are for Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's
this is
top
good.
tower has fallen.
Very good.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Courier has been
Good awareness here. You even scanned. Go for the nice. Go for the ancients.
Radiant's middle tower.
That was good pressure. What you just did there, that was all good. Notice how it forced a reaction, and you were like safe about it. Very good play. I'd be scared to go back here. You have no information. Monkey King was down here. Okay, now you see Tiny Top. You should feel better. Yep, there you go. Perfect. Well played there. Good, like, walk back, get information, walk forward. Good. This is good. This is playing according to, like, the old deadline idea. This is fine. Great. Pressuring a tier 2. You already forced fort, so you should feel comfortable doing a lot of damage, if not taking it. Okay, great. Forced a reaction. Careful about the opponent team connecting with their Monkey King here. Yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Almost got lucky there that he missed his stun. When the opponent carry TPs like that, it almost certainly means that the enemy team is either going to meet him around here, or they're going to go push this tower. Think about it, right? That's their only choice. Because they're carry TP here. If they go anywhere else, they're fighting without their carry. So they're going to connect to him like this, or they're going to go like this. So you doing what you did where you like blinked back this way is just really bad. Not much else to say about that, right? Like, your farming patterns should be dictated based on what the opponent's probably doing. So think about triggers in the game. Like, the enemy team will give you a lot of hints about what they're doing based on heroes that TP and such. Say, like, if a support that's useless with no ultimate TP's bottom, the enemy team's likely not going to connect to them. That makes no sense, right? But if you force the Monkey King, one of their strongest heroes, to TP bottom, they're probably going to connect to him. So you can assume that's going to happen. Until proven otherwise, right?
Radiant's top tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
So like, I probably would have gone towards their triangle and then looked to cut this wave if they showed themselves farther forward on the map like they did. That's just to give you a more detailed answer about what I would do. Okay, so Silencer bailed you out there. That was... I would have definitely blinked at least one more time. That was crazy. Okay. You're going for Basher. Okay. So now at this point we know they're all top. Right back to bottom we go. Good. Would have probably even killed the Ancients there because it's just so much gold for you towards your item timings before the 24-minute mark. If it was like 24:15 when you got there, I wouldn't have killed the Ancients first, but since it was like 23:40, it takes you like 3 seconds to kill the Ancients, and that's like 200 gold and a lot of XP, so I would have done it personally. And since they all showed top, you're not in like a super rush to get that done. And the other case where I told you where you were blinking from here to here and I told you they were chasing you, killing that creep wave 4 seconds earlier is a big deal. There's like some moments in the game where you can kind of detect the opponent's chasing me and some moments where they're not. Notice how many times you leave camps alive, or like you don't kill the camps in time. Okay, so what just happened here? Did Bane just not have Fiend's Grip, or he just didn't feel like using it? Okay, he wasn't aware where anybody was, but he just decided not to Fiend's Grip you. I feel like you got away with being a bit out of position there. Okay. You are playing the right part of the map. I just think you got a little carried away with your aggressiveness on that blink into the, like, no vision in the jungle. Okay. Here's how Dota works, man. Enemies respawning. So say the Void Spirit was dead and the Bane was dead, and actually 4 heroes on their team set up to kill you. 4 of them, right? Because Monkey King Boundless, Tiny Avalanche, Bane Nightmare, Void Spirit, Ags. When is the opponent gonna go on you? When are they gonna go? It's like right before the opponent team responds, right? Like that's as early as they're gonna go. So just get out. Why? Like, is this... I've talked about the tier 2 mid on both sides. It's just a useless tower. If they're dead, by all means, hit the fucking tower. Right? I'm not saying it's useless, like, never go for it. But you don't risk anything to go for this tower. Like, this tower is never worth risking anything for. So, yeah, they're going to go on you when they're about to respawn. It's that simple. Just get out. No reason to stay this long. Just get out. Who cares about the tower?
The prize is...
That's a huge death, by the way. I'm sure you're aware, but that death loses you, like, all map control. Like, literally all map control is just gone now. Usually when you're a split pusher and you lose map control, it takes, like, twice as long to get it back as it took to lose it. Or, like, however long you lost it for. So if you've lost map control for, like, a minute, it usually takes at least 2 minutes to get it back. And, you know, on and on. See the mid, you're gonna cut. Okay. Reasonable. It's good. Get out immediately, blink the right way. Good. Okay, Silencer's been a real godsend for you. I don't even think that was a particularly terrible play. I think you kind of just barely got caught there. Jakiro seems upset. I was gonna say, it's pretty clear they have vision around here. Okay, so we are gonna go for a BKB. That's correct.
Radiant's bottom tower is under Radiant structures are fortified.
Nice. Obviously, it's a bit different when your team's around. You knew they were roshing, so you knew they weren't all here yet. So you knew the guy over-aggressed. That's good. Force them all bottom, running towards top. See the support. Good pick off. This is a bit crazy. Okay, never mind. Force the Monkey King ult, GTFO. I was gonna say you need some clarities, but Gaben said otherwise. Does this Monkey King have defusal? No. Monkey King seems to not know the Anti-Mage matchup. Overall, you're doing a good job of being a nuisance, but obviously they're going to run down mid now after you did what you did. Definitely crazy from you. Are you actually going to get away with it, though? Wow. That was crazy, man. You have more balls than I do, let's just say that. I think they had, like, virtually no chance of upward potential, but I guess I respect the ballsiness. I like the mobility on the map. That's what you have to abuse on Anti-Mage. You force them all top, you go bottom. You force them all bottom, you go top. In that other case, just now where I said you were crazy, you forced them all bottom, and then they were clearly running at you. And you stuck around and tried to go for a kill. That was the weird part to me. To me, I think that's, like, not capitalizing on your own aggression. It's like, I'm going to keep making them chase me, and if they don't adequately chase me, I'm going to kill them. That's how I look at it. You're kind of like, I'm going to make them chase me, and then I'm just going to try to kill them. Regardless of what they do. Good kill.
My thanks to thee.
Okay, so you're buying clarities. Good continuous pressure on bottom. This is exactly why you play like this. Good job. Force people out of position. They're going to try to respond to you one at a time. Okay, his Monkey King is nuts. Didn't work out for you, though. It's fine. Don't mind the kill attempt. Monkey King stunned now. Cool. Set up by the first attempt. Don't really mind that trade. Your Mirana, questionable. It's fine. Yeah, you have very low mana and you're chasing into buybacks. You are nutty, sir. You are absolutely nuts. Are you actually gonna live? Yeah, you get your team killed, though. Chasing into buybacks with no mana. Question mark. Okay, we have no buybacks. Teams respawning. Teams. Looks like the enemy team's playing around mid. Setting up for Roche. At this point, you're playing 4v5. Your Jakiro doesn't exist. Unfortunate. So this just isn't how Anti-Mage works, in my opinion. I understand you messed up by abyssaling this creep, but you are blinking into their base with not a single hero on their team showing that they're not in base, with only 2 of your teammates behind you. The whole idea of everything you do on heroes like Anti-Mage is that you have the numbers. Everything I've been telling you is correct and why, and every time it's wrong and why. It's just all about the numbers. I don't care that you messed up this Abyssal. I just think this play is very forced. I think at this point, when I play the dead lane idea here, we're looking to set up for Roche. So we're constantly pushing bottom. We're forcing them to come here. If they come here, we can sweep through the map and take over their triangle. If they don't come here, we kill their buildings, right? That's the whole idea. And we want to keep yanking their chain, forcing them back and forth, back and forth. Once they separate, they're going to do it. Every team does it. Even players at the highest level do it. Players in your bracket 100% going to do it, like rank 200s or worse. They're 100% going to do it. People above you are going to do it if you do it fast enough. Usually what it takes is the higher up in MMR you go, the faster you have to be, the more crisp you have to be to punish it, right? Because people are going to be faster, but they'll still be a bit out of position for maybe a second instead of 5 seconds at like the 2K level or something. So the point is, I see a lot of aggressive split pushing. I like where you're playing on the map, but there's no reason to fight into them like this as an anti-mage. It's kind of like when my team tries to get me to fight into 5 heroes when I'm Slark. Most of the time, I don't want to do it. Most of the time, I understand Tiny's dead, but you don't have a Jakiro, so it's effectively 4v4. And also, your silencer's not here. So this is just very forced, in my opinion. I think this just doesn't have to be played this way. So the result is your silencer dying. Looks like your axe is dying. It's not just because of the negative result. I'm looking at Roche as the next major objective in the game. You're probably not going to go high ground in most games without taking Roche, especially one like this. And when I say one like this, I mean one where you're not like super far ahead. And at this point, it's really hard to solo carry as Anti-Mage. But this is exactly what you have to do, right? I said, let them separate, force them back. Let them separate, force them back, right? This is exactly what you have to do. They separate, you kill them. They separate, you kill them. Rinse and repeat. Anything other than that usually is bad. Sometimes there's okay. Force them to separate. Now clean sweep yourself across the map. Great. Cool. This is perfect. Great. Run into a support because it doesn't have a core. Great. See another core? Nice. Great. This is all perfect. Nice. Notice what you did there? Notice how I narrated what was going to happen like 3 minutes ago or what you should have done? Great. It worked out. It's not me saying I'm a fucking genius, etc., etc. It's me saying Dota, very predictable game in a lot of ways.
Radiant's bottom barracks are under attack. Radiant's bottom barracks are under attack.
Okay.
Radiant's top tower is
Let's
under
get the Aegis. We have a Rapier. Don't mind it. I'd say you probably need to end this game in the next few minutes, so I don't mind this play. And you win. Cool. Overall, obviously your 7.4K decisions are going to be pretty good, but we talked upon the little bit of the gaps in the reasoning there. The gaps in the reasoning were pretty important. So obviously people ask me all the time, you know, what's the difference between a 6K and a 7K? What's the difference between 5K and 6K? The mistakes just become more and more specific, more and more nitpicky. Like, that's what ends up happening, because the knowledge of the game goes up, the correct amount of decisions goes up. He was playing the right part of the map, in general playing correctly. It just came down to a few overextensions based on things that are relatively predictable. So it's funny how the small mistakes really stack up. Yep. That's why when it seems like a small mistake to Twitch chat, and I say that's game-losing shit, and they say, BSJ, you're exaggerating. Usually I'm not. Usually I'm not. Sometimes, yeah, I'm tilted, whatever. Usually I'm not exaggerating. Hope you learned something